I had jobs that needed to be done. And I had some professionals come in to do big jobs like a new bathroom. But as I was starting to go around the house, I was like, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. And I realised that I actually didn't really know how to do those things.
This episode is supported by the Bishop Stortford community newsletter. There's so much happening in town, it's hard to keep up. New businesses opening, community events, local stories, and opportunities for all of us to get involved and make Bishop Stortford a great place to live. That's why we created a free weekly newsletter that brings together the best of Bishop Stortford in one place. There's no endless scrolling, no hunting through Facebook groups, just the stories, events, and local updates that matter. If you'd like to stay connected to what's happening in Bishop Stortford, sign up using the link in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode. Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the incredible businesses, community leaders, and local legends shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell, and today we are joined by Cassy. Cassy, great to have you on the show.
Hello, thank you for having me. Nice to meet you.
Cassy, for those of us who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do here in Bishop Stortford?
So my name is Cassy Waugh, and I have lived in the area since about 2003. I'm a mum. My son went to school in Stortford and in Stortford, and now works in Stortford. And I'm also a community organiser. I do have a full-time job, but I have run StortBox sessions for a few years, StortBox fireworks, and other kind of community music events. So, in context today, I'm here to talk to you about a new venture called the Home Skills Club.
I've seen the Home Skills Club on Facebook. It looks incredible. Tell me more about it, because I think this is just brilliant.
Thank you. So when I moved house last year, as a single woman with my son in the house, I had jobs that needed to be done. And I had some professionals come in to do big jobs like a new bathroom. But as I was starting to go around the house, I was like, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. And I realised that I actually didn't really know how to do those things. And they were quite simple things like putting in a screw to put in a picture frame or to do a hanging shelf. I've got a relatively old house, and I was getting a little bit worried about like maybe drilling through a power cable or a water pipe. And so I sort of broke it down to, I really need to know how to use a tool. Like I need to be confident using a power drill, a combi drill. And there are some other things I want to do around the house, which I really feel I should be able to do myself. So I started to look for courses, and I didn't want to learn how to be a carpenter or a plumber. I just wanted to be able to do some sort of simple home DIY, home maintenance tasks. And I did find some courses, but they were like in Newcastle or Brighton. I saw women doing really cool things, and I was like, oh, I wish I could get to them. And I started talking to my friends about it, and they were like, that's such a good idea. I wish there was something locally. And being someone who is an organiser, I feel like it's my personality trait. It's like, who is Cassy? She's an organiser. I thought I'd set one up. And that is how the Home Skills Club started. So clearly, I'm not teaching them myself because I need to learn these skills myself. So I started reaching out to people I knew to see if I could find anyone who was great at DIY, but also could teach, because I do feel like there's a difference between being able to do something and being able to communicate it and teach it and help people through the learning process. So I reached out through my network of friends that are teachers, and one of the ladies that I have known for a long time, her name's Kieran, sent me a picture of herself with a power tool, and she was like, I think I meet the brief. Come round to my house and come and see all the things that I've been doing in my house. And like me, relatively single and a mum, and wants to do this stuff herself. And she's actually been doing it for a long time, and she's got really good skills. I mean, I went round to her house and she was like building retaining walls and furniture, and as a teacher knows how to lesson plan. So together we have founded the Home Skills Club, and it's women led, women first. And we're not teaching people to be decorators or handy people. It's really about DIY confidence, so that you can do the jobs in your house that you want to do without having to call someone in. Because let's face it, sometimes we have to call the professionals in, but this is for the jobs where really would all like to be able to do them ourselves.
I think this is brilliant. I bemoan the fact that this wasn't taught in schools, that we
Mm,
all didn't get this kind of base level of, house DIY.
yeah.
What do you, have you learned skills from after starting this? Have you kind of
Yes,
built up your repertoire?
I have, because like Kelly's worked with me with a few things. So one of the things that I found is that learning a few fundamental skills then are really applicable to other things.
Mm.
But then you also build confidence. And then when you've got that confidence, you're willing to try something else. So I've just replaced all the silicone around my bath, which is something I wouldn't have attempted a year ago, And I've also done some plumbing. I've replumbed my kitchen sink, which again is something I wouldn't have attempted before. I would have just, in fact, at one time I actually called a plumber in just to change a washer.
Yeah, you
Like,
say that. I think a lot of people have done that. I look at these kind of things. I'm not a DIY kind of guy at all.
yeah,
And my thing about starting one of these projects at home is that I get to a point where I get so frustrated that I make it worse, and then I
yes,
can't, and then I have to call someone anyway.
yeah,
So
to fix
I
it.
get very, very
Yeah.
frustrated.
Yeah, and so that's why we have a lot of ambition for the courses. And so we're starting off with intro to power tools. So it will really be how to use a drill, which bits to use, how to drill into different surfaces, like different walls. In my house, I've got wood, I've got plasterboard, and I've got brick. So which bit to use, which raw plug to use, and how to confidently make sure that you're not drilling through something you shouldn't be drilling through. But what we would also like to do is to actually have more courses where we might do a bit of tiling, silicon and sealing and masticing. And the other thing that I'm really keen to do, and as a mum of a 20-year-old boy who will one day be, spreading his wings. I mean, he'd like to get out of the house pretty quickly, but the way things are, he's going to have to stay living with his mum for a bit longer. But like a first time homeowners course, so that when you are in charge of your own house, do you know how to change a fuse? Do you know how to locate where the water stopcock is? So if there was a leak, would you know how to turn the water off in your house? Do you know how to reset the fuses if they blow? Do you know how to do some basic things that are home maintenance, which will keep your home running?
Do you think people feel embarrassed not knowing this, and I'm
It's
saying people here generally because
interesting.
I know you're focusing
Yeah,
just on women. I think this is a wider
it is. It is. It's a
thing.
wider thing, and I think that I do think it is I think it's gendered, because I think that some women, I know quite a few women who have been taught this by their father, but I would
Right.
say I know more men that would describe themselves as handy. But I do feel that the men that wouldn't feel a bit embarrassed that they
Mm.
don't know. They feel like they should. And I feel also that this is something that it shouldn't be a male or female thing. It should just be an everybody thing. And I do feel like women want to do it as a bit more empowerment. Men feel like, oh, maybe I should know how to do this, but I don't. We're actually been talking to a guy in Stansted called Richard, who's involved with things like Touchpoint, but he's also involved with the men's shed movement. And so we have also talked around, how perhaps there's stuff that we can do in the future as a partnership as well, because it's empowerment for everyone. I think, it's more sustainable if you can fix something than have to replace it. It's more cost effective if you can do it yourself. And the sense of achievement and empowerment I feel when I have fixed something myself it's a lovely feeling. So whilst our courses are female, women led and women first, and we will always have women only courses, I think we will extend in the future as well. I mean, both me and Kieran, the tutor, have boys. We both have boys, and we want them to have that same sense of empowerment that we do our daughters. One of the reasons, though, there is a really strong reason for us having female only spaces, and that is because that's what a lot of women want, to feel safe and to feel secure. I also have friends that have had weird experiences when a workman has come into their home, especially if they've been on their own. I've also, like a lot of women have had really lovely positive experiences, but there is there's a safety side of it. And we are also hoping to work with a local charity to offer a free place to a woman who is rebuilding her home after escaping domestic violence. And so for that nature, having a women's only space will mean that it's more accessible and palatable for a woman in that situation. And so we will always run women-only classes as well.
I think this really matters. It's being safe, whilst you're learning, but also it's being safe and confident in your own home. And it almost, by learning these skills, you're going to be able to ask better questions in those scenarios. Like, I always feel I don't know the right question to ask. I don't know what questions I should be asking in those kind of scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in, learning those basic skills would then give you a basis for then, that kind of next level kind of conversation that you might have.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. If there's anything I can do to help and support with the podcast, just let me know. Where do people need to go now if they want to sign up, if they want to get on your shortlist for your courses? Where's the best place to find you?
So at the moment, we're on Facebook and Instagram. So on Facebook, we are the Home Skills Club. And on Instagram, we are Home Skills Club. So if you search for those, you should be able to find it. And there'll be like some really crude videos of my face on it. So hopefully people will be able to recognize that. They can also email us at thehomeskillsclub@gmail.com. Our pilot is sold out, which is incredible. We actually have a wait list, and it's on the 4th of July, which is Independence Day, which we had to launch on that day when it was an available day. And we're going to run the pilot because we're also testing the format. Is 4 hours long enough? Is the price point right? Are we covering everything everyone wants us to before we then start scheduling subsequent courses? Just so we're not running before we can walk. But we have a lot of plans and a lot of ambition, and the way that people have responded to, we've got a wait list already that's the equivalent of doing like 3 workshops. So we're already thinking, how can we do multiple ones each month, and then how can we build on that?
Quick pause, because this episode is supported by Stort AI. Most businesses know AI is probably going to help their business in one way or the other. The problem is they're so busy running their business, they don't know where to start. They don't know what questions to ask. That's where Stort AI comes in. We sit down with businesses, look at how things actually work day to day, and identify simple ways to save time, reduce admin, and improve systems using AI and other automation tools. There's no jargon or complicated technology. It's just practical ideas to make life just a little bit easier as a business owner. If you're curious about what AI could do for your business, have a look at Stort AI in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode. Are you ready for some Stortford spotlight questions?
I am. I'm all prepared.
Excellent. These are 3 super fast questions that we ask every guest that come on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast. First question. If you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say, and who needs to hear it the most?
So what I would say is, the distance between us is rarely as great as we're told. And you're looking a little confused, is that I feel like at a time when difference is often treated as a threat, and I think there are certain factions in society that are trying to divide us, that we all just need to be reminded that sometimes understanding each other is what makes community stronger and all of our lives richer.
How can we understand each other better?
By talking to each other and seeking to understand, being curious. Like, rather than having a conversation with somebody and waiting to talk and putting your perspective over, ask questions. Why do you think that way? Like, tell me about your experience, your life experience. And I think, the more we understand how people think and why they think that way, the more I think we'll see that there's such commonalities amongst us, and that most people are just trying to live a good life and keep themselves and their family safe and happy.
Curiosity wins often, doesn't it? Understanding other people's point of view. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. I love that. That's really good. Question 2.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go in Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
So I'm a big fan of South Street Pantry, and I have been going there for years. I remember when my son was little, we used to cycle there and he'd go and fill his face with pancakes. So we've kind of come full circle, and full disclosure, my son is actually a chef there at South Street Pantry.
Cool.
So I think that their loaded sourdoughs are amazing. I mean, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I need to go and have the creamy mushrooms. It's like a drive. And so I want their ongoing success, but I always want to always be able to get a table when I go there as well.
What's your go-to order when you go in?
Creamy mushrooms, the creamy mushrooms loaded sourdoughs. But I usually also try the special because my son will be like, you have to try the special, Mum. I don't know if you know that what they're doing. They're doing the butcher and the pantry. They're doing a fine dining evening as well. Might be worth you trying to get Ollie on the owner on the show.
I would love to do that. If you can make that happen, if you can drop some elbows into ribs, we're always interested in shining a light on local hospitality. Let's make that happen.
Yeah.
This episode is supported by the Bishop Stortford community newsletter. There's so much happening in town, it's hard to keep up. New businesses opening, community events, local stories, and opportunities for all of us to get involved and make Bishop Stortford a great place to live. That's why we created a free weekly newsletter that brings together the best of Bishop Stortford in one place. There's no endless scrolling, no hunting through Facebook groups, just the stories, events, and local updates that matter. If you'd like to stay connected to what's happening in Bishop Stortford, sign up using the link in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode. Question 3. Who's doing something special in town that more people need to know about?
Okay, so I would definitely say the Hoodoo Radio crew. So they are creating something that I think is really community driven. They are involved and supportive of Bish Bash, the new music festival that's coming into Stortford in July. And I feel that I got to know them because as a local person putting on a local music event, they invited me onto the show to talk about the event, and they were really supportive and came along. And I feel like also in a time where things are quite overly corporate, they're really grassroots. And they've got a show like Uncle Funk does a show. They've got a women in music show. They've got rock and roll. It's really diverse, the music actually that they play. And Faye and Dan are lovely, lovely people. And I know that they're also trying to encourage younger people that maybe want to have a go at radio to get involved as well. So I think check out hoodoradio.co.uk and get in touch if you want to be like, I don't know, the next Lauren Levine or Greg Jones, who is a Stortford boy. He went to Boys High, didn't they? Or the next Joe Wiley, because I think it would be great. It would be great for a young person who's interested in radio to have that experience in a local grassroots show.
Fantastic. We'd love to get them on the show as well. We'll drop their link in the show notes if anybody that hasn't come across them before can check them out. But again, a great local community spot there. Great. Thanks for shining a light on that. Cassy, again, where's the best place for people to find you online and get involved with everything that you're up to?
Right. So Facebook and Instagram and search for the Home Skills Club.
I wish you all the success with everything, Cassy. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thanks for your support.
No, not a problem. Thanks for sharing that and, sharing everything that you're doing in the community. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And that's a wrap on your first podcast. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way that you can support the show is to hit follow, leave a quick review on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, and then share it on your socials, or share it with someone in town who's not on social media, but you think might need some help with DIY. Get involved with the Home Skills Club, and you can never know where that might lead them. And if you've got a local legend, someone that's investing in town, that started a new project, a new business, anything like that, that you think we should feature on the podcast, drop their name in the comments below, and I can reach out to them, invite them on the podcast, and we can have a little chat. Again, Cassy, thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast. Have a great day.
Love what you're doing.
Thank you.